Malone, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to comment on, as a preface before we go into this special meeting. The Open Meetings Act allows for an exception to the notice requirements in connection with the declaration of an emergency, and the county manager will explain the reason why he's asking the county commission to declare an emergency, but it is clearly covered by that exception to the Open Meetings Act.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Malone, for that brief statement. We'll go ahead and call to order at this point then, Taos County Board of Commissioners emergency meeting for today, Tuesday, July 29th, 2014. For the record, it is 2:21. Madam Clerk, please lead us with the roll call.
Commissioner Blakenhart.
Present.
Vice Chair Sanchez.
Present.
Chairman Romero.
Present. Okay, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. We have items A and B, amendments and withdrawn items.
So moved.
I'll go ahead and second, unless staff has other changes. Pretty much what we see. Okay, Madam Clerk.
Yes.
Vice Chair Sanchez.
Yes.
Chairman Romero.
Yes, okay, item 5 is finding of extreme emergency or disaster, discussion, consideration regarding the following. Item A, the resolution 2014-34, resolution declaring a state of emergency within Taos County due to a finding of extreme emergency or disaster due to flooding conditions within Taos County. Mr. Archuleta.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you very much for indulging us in this. I want to first go ahead and let Commissioner Sanchez talk about his situation up in the Red River area, and then I will continue to move forward with some of the issues that we've been dealing with here within the Taos area.
Thank you, Mr. Archuleta. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I got a call yesterday, and this has been happening in the past. Bitter Creek in my District 2 in Red River. That road has been, it floods at this time of year when we get the monsoon. It's owned by the Forest Service, and I think this was 2 years ago where they wanted to give it to us, and I don't want to inherit a headache, so we decided not to take it on. What we have been doing is, for emergency purposes, we've gone up there just to open it up so the ambulance or fire truck, if they need to get in, can get in. But I tried calling the Forest Service yesterday, and not knowing that Buck Sanchez is no longer with the Carson. So I was told to talk to I think it's John Miera. I'm not sure if that was his name. So I need to talk to him, see if what they are willing to do with that road. It's not ours. We've been doing it just out of courtesy, for safety. But we've got problems up in Amalia where we had a road that was just washed out. I had my crew call me to see what they would do. Take care of the one in Bitter Creek or take care of ours. I said, well, ours is that's the county, so we got to jump on that one. And I need to find out what we're going to do with the Bitter Creek Road up in Red River, because it's not owned by us. So that's a big problem up in my area.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, as you well know, we're in the middle of the monsoon season here in Taos County right now. Taos County roads have been inundated with heavy localized rain and flash flooding. The Taos County Public Works Department has actually responded to several calls within the last week and this week. We are going to bring some pictures up to you. This is a road that you can see up on the monitor right now that we were dealing with yesterday. It was a very localized rain that stayed there for about 30 to 40 minutes. Several homes were inundated with water. We also had flash flooding and several. This is a picture of actually the arroyo that was there, that was spreading out throughout the whole axis. Taos Fire Department, along with the, what was the fire department from up there? Rio Fernando Fire Department responded. Families were actually stuck at home. Some families were actually inundated with this water, and the road was completely washed out. As you can see here, we were trying to mitigate as much of the problems that we have there. Because of that, we did put a phone call into the State Emergency Department yesterday in Santa Fe and advised them that we were in the process of trying to possibly declare a state of emergency for roads in Taos County, and because of the rainfall that we have up there. So I stand for any questions from the commission. Like I said, these are basically the roads that we've been dealing with over the last couple of weeks. It's really strange because you can go a half a mile away from that road and there's no problems. There's no rainfall, there's no mud, there's no water coming through those areas, and then you can get into the areas where the rain has been localized up in Angel Fire, or I'm sorry, in Red River, some in Amalia, and then these ones here in the local Talpa area, which have just been hit hard recently.
Well, I certainly appreciate the quick response from our road department and emergency personnel. As you know, this same thing occurred, was it last Thursday?
That's correct.
Wednesday evening? And so this one just got worse. And basically it's the same cloud outburst that has been occurring over the Miranda Canyon, and it comes down the Miranda Arroyo area there. And I know that there was a gentleman who lives up above the hill there from Miranda Canyon, and he had a beautiful wrought iron fence pretty much surrounding his entire property, and that is where a lot of the damage next to the county roads did take place. I believe yesterday's storm, in fact, came to some of that neighborhood to where it was, the water was in their yards, I understand.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, that's correct. Actually, the individual that you're talking about replaced the fence that had been thrown down by the water last week, and yesterday again that fence was down another time, just with the volume of water coming off the Miranda Canyon and going through those properties. And then the damage to the home, there's about 6 to 8 inches of silt on the bottom of the water that's coming through. Even our emergency vehicles and equipment going through there yesterday was very difficult.
And as I understand it, there were walls of water that were going well above 10 feet in height.
I didn't see that. Mr. Jaramillo and myself got out there about 3:30, which was about an hour after the initial flood had come through. But the pictures that you see there are the ones that we took yesterday. It actually looked like we were looking at the Rio Grande yesterday when you saw the road coming through. So I'm sure at the height of the storm and when the water busted through, it actually was coming close to that amount of depth. Yeah. What you see in the pictures here is all the debris that was brought down from the Miranda Canyon. So you have a lot of sticks and brushes and stuff that then hit up against fence lines, and then they actually push the fence lines through and continue to move into fields and homes and other areas.
So by us signing this resolution 2014-34, declaring a state of emergency, what can we expect to see do we get any help from the state and federal?
Well, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is actually just a process for us to ask for help. The only one that could actually designate a disaster area is the governor of the state of New Mexico. So by passing this resolution, we're basically forwarding that to her and asking her to consider that. In my opinion, it doesn't help. It doesn't hurt for us to do this. Our hope would be that we could mitigate some of the damage that's been there. We can recover some of the money. We've used a lot of staff time. We've used a lot of Taos County equipment. We've used a lot of dirt, gravel. Yesterday we were putting in actual concrete barriers to try to keep the water away from several homes. And so in an attempt to do that, we're hoping that we can get some reimbursement from that from the state. It's a 75-25 match. And I believe Mr. Jaramillo has a little bit more information based on that. And
in the meantime, there are expenses that, I mean, you have to rebuild that county road at this point, and any idea what that cost is going to be at this point?
We won't know until we get it all dried out and take a look at that.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, so move with discussion to move forward.
I'll go ahead and second.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. Since we had you here for the special council meeting, we thought it was a good idea to also have an emergency meeting and pass this resolution. Since last Thursday, I've been in contact with the State Office of Emergency Management, so they know about last week's flooding event, notified them yesterday, about yesterday's event as well. For the rest of the week, state EOC is predicting we'll have monsoonal rains. So we did some preemptive work yesterday, but if more heavy monsoon rains come again, I think the county will be in a good position by declaring an emergency that will notify the state since today that we declared the emergency. So if we can receive any state funding, would be in line for it. So it's passing the resolution today. It's kind of trying. I don't want to say it's a little, not that it's early, but we're thinking ahead is what I'm trying to get at.
And I certainly appreciate the fact that you are doing that, and I know that you and I were in communication last week when Mr. Archuleta was out, and you were taking the steps necessary to make sure that the residents affected by this had some form of housing availability through the community center in Talpa and other areas, not only for humans, but for animals as well. So I certainly appreciate the steps that you all have taken with regards to this. As far as today's declaration of emergency, state of emergency, is it just for these 2 roads, or is it
It's throughout the county, so it's...
for anything that happens at this point?
We wrote it kind of generic, so if anything happens throughout the county.
Okay.
There's also, we've had the flooding in Bitter Creek, El Salto, and also at Ojo Caliente, even though it was more on the Rio Arriba side.
Right.
So we've had at least 40 events that we know of.
Okay. And so Ojo Caliente, considering the fact that it's mostly on the Rio Arriba side, but are they taking the same steps? Have they taken the same steps, I'm sure, that we are today?
Chairman, we have not contacted Rio Arriba County. We could put a call and
Okay.
get back with you.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
We got money for it in 2005, remember, Chairman?
Yeah,
It was a hard thing, though. I ended up talking to Governor Richardson about it. It took a while, but in any event, we did get it.
We did, yeah.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, also I'd like to thank Brent for, stepping up to the plate. I know it's a rough one, and you were out trying to enjoy your vacation, Mr. Archuleta. I don't know if you did, but Brent, you did a good job. And also, I just want to let you know, Mr. Archuleta, I don't know if we need to get with the Forest Service on this Bitter Creek Road, see what.
Will do.
Okay, thank you,
Will do,
sir.
Commissioner. And also, Commissioners, I just do want to let you know that our road department was out there till about 9:30 last night, and they were back out at 7 o'clock this morning actually addressing these issues on the different roads. So they've been working some late nights, long hours, and trying to do that, but we're also burning up county resources in doing it. We need to, though.
Yeah. Mr. Thielke,
Sure. The southern part of the county also got hit real heavy last week. It was either Wednesday or Thursday. We
Yeah.
had about an hour of downpour. Half an hour was hail.
Yeah.
Totally devastating.
I believe it's the same storm that hit us,
Yeah, probably.
because it was coming from that direction.
Most of them are localized, but this was, I never seen it that heavy in, there was a river running down our road. Thank you.
Well, and I think it's important for that to be reported to the county so that we know what roads are out there. We'll also be asking the road crews in the different districts to go out and do an assessment of the roads as that continues to happen this week.
Okay, go ahead and come forward. State your name for the record.
I know I'm a new face. Janie Davis, I'm also an officer at the town. But those pictures were my neighbor in my driveway. And I wanted to thank Earl, Salazar, Delmo, David, all those guys twice in a week.
They've done an excellent job.
What a great job they did. And we're concerned that there's going to be Band-Aids put on some of these situations. My neighbor 7 years ago, the one out front, lost his well. It cost him $2,500
Because
to
of
replace his well.
flooding?
Flooding. We're going to put in a pipe in our driveway to try to divert that water into the creek. And the county, the guys out there, we've kind of planned it out so that we can make sure that's one thing that'll help. But when it's overwhelming, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
But we're asking from the bottom of our hearts that hopefully it'll be addressed further up and this won't happen anymore. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. So we do have a motion and a second. And Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Vice Chair Sanchez.
See,
Chairman Romero.
Yes. Okay, motion for adjournment?
so moved.
Okay.
Second?
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Blankenhorn.
Yes.
Vice Chair Sanchez.
Yes.
Chairman Romero.
Yes. Thank you very much.